Sarebbe riduttivo definire Mikkel Ploug un chitarrista jazz, in quanto appartiene a un'avanguardia di matrice europea, nord europea in quanto danese, che usa la musica improvvisata svincolata dalla tradizione, dal linguaggio tradizionale americano, e la porta in una nuova dimensione. Siamo felici di consigliare questo meraviglioso album che è diventato un best seller di Mikkel, si chiama Alleviation, per chitarra sola. Vogliamo ricordare un primo esempio storico per quanto riguarda la chitarra jazz di George Van Eps con il suo Soliloquy, a cui seguirono poi la serie di registrazioni di Joe Pass di album virtuoso. Ad oggi ogni chitarrista vuole cimentarsi con una produzione per sola chitarra ed è il caso di Mikkel che ci regala questa perla. Lo abbiamo raggiunto online direttamente in Danimarca e abbiamo parlato di tecnica polifonica, di stage fright, di ansia da palco, in un'intervista molto intensa e molto intellettuale. Buona visione.
So what's my starting point for solo guitar? Actually, my solo guitar album, Alleviation, started with finding the instrument. I had a couple of acoustic guitars, but they were always something I would just play for fun or, to try a new tune or whatever. But I considered myself an electric player. And I guess because I just hadn't met the right instrument. But then I found this old Gibson Bannerhead from 45 in New York that just had a really warm tone. And funny enough, it turns out the instrument is not made by the typical woods that you make this instrument of. It's made of mahogany, which is unusual to have a mahogany top. But something in that tone was really drawing me to want to play this instrument. So I decided I wanted to see what would happen if I took and made an exploration of the instrument, and basically trying to approach it not from any angle of I'm going to try to write this type of music or that type of music, simply working with sound on the instrument until I find something that moves me or satisfies me. So I decided to put all genres in a drawer and say, if I write one chord and just play the most common finger-picking lick that's available, the most blang, dang, blooka, boom, clang, if that's what I'm hearing, then that's what I will write. And what I ended up with was a record that has compositions that are based on scales of Mechan, so it's very classical and through composed, and some little pieces that are more like almost like folk music, I guess. But it all comes from basically exploring the instrument.
So in a metaphysical sense, if you
yes,
okay.
And simply going for like it sounds very hippie-ish, but you play a chord or you play a note and you go like, how does this resonate? What does this mean to me? Maybe what about here? And so I sat for a really long time, like almost half a year. I would have a daily routine with this instrument and just play and work. And as I started gathering a lot of small fragments, and these small fragments I would then transform slowly into pieces. So some of them happened very quickly, and some of them took months to develop. I was using his modes that are called modes of limited transposition, I believe is the name, which are some very interesting scales. And I just tried to write something that didn't sound like it was a scale or anything conceptual. I was just trying to write a piece of music, but based on his modes. So the piece on the record is called Colors de Olivier, basically the colors of Olivier Mechan. Okay. And I explored two of his modes, but as a composition, I don't think of it as a Mechan exercise or anything like that. I was just trying to write a for me, satisfying melody and piece of music. So that's also one thing. I have a certain trust or belief in melodies. I'm always just looking for basically writing a song with a strong melody. And sometimes that means it can get very complex, and at other times it means it gets super simple. I can't tell when I start out, but I trust in it. When I really feel the melody and hear it very deeply, then I think, okay, it's there. Now it's there. And then I trust in it. What I discovered from starting to play solo was that you have a chance to use the intimacy to the benefit of the music. Because often when you're playing with a lot of people, you start out with a big sound, and maybe there's, from the first note, there's already so much information. And I feel like when you're playing solo, you have the chance to start from nothing. You can be really close to the audience, you can hear their breath, and you can play really soft, and you can so you get a chance to access an area. At least like me, I've toured only with bands for many, many years, but now the last years I've mainly done solo concerts, actually, also because of COVID. But I just found it so exciting to work in this area that's possible when you're playing solo. So you use that tension between the audience and you, that if somebody scratches their feet against the ground, it's almost louder than what you might play. So to use that intensity, I found super exciting. And in many ways, therefore, I consider solo playing the most exciting, I would almost say. But like I think it's a wonderful gift to be able to access that area of music making, because it's also very, very pure. When you one thing that actually made me make my solo album was that my drummer said to me, whenever you send a demo of your songs, I feel like there's so much information there that sometimes get lost when we play it in the group. And I was thinking about what he means, and then I realized, oh yeah, because I'm hearing sort of a rhythmic feel, and maybe I'm even hearing, like I used to play drums as a kid, I think I'm hearing a drummer playing a thing behind me. So that changes how I play it. So it made me think, like, I'd like to make an album that also sort of invites people into a process of, let's say somebody just walked into your room when you're playing a song. So you haven't necessarily prepared like an amazing arrangement, or here's my concert, here's what I'm doing, but somebody just walks in and hears you play. It's very pure. So in many ways, that's what I'm striving for when I'm playing solo concerts, is to try to achieve a similar situation of purity, of just, here I am with my guitar. Of course, it's not that simple, but that's what I'm hoping to get to. I would bring music by my favorite composer, Ben Sørensen, because that's I'm a really bad reader, and what I love to do is take some extremely complex orchestra music and try to put it on the guitar. Like now I'm working on his orchestra piece for the Matthew's Passion. It's a 1 hour work, and what I love to do is just to sit and dissect, like so the choir does that, so the violins does this, this is what happened in the bass, the hobo. Can I put all of that on the guitar? And of course you can't, because you only have your strings and 4 fingers. But somehow it's very often it's possible to get extremely close, I find, with the guitar, even to an orchestral work or a very complex piano work. And actually the last 4 years, most of my practicing have been this, like transposing classical music onto guitars and seeing if it's possible to play it. And sometimes I sit and work with one bar for a week, and I'm like, I think if I do this, so like that's my desert island. No, I'm not really like I don't have a lot of theory books, stuff like that. Yes, it's recorded already. It's gonna come out in September on Songlines, and it's called Day in the Sun, and that's kind of the follow-up album of Alleviation. And I think it's a slightly less conceptual. If you listen to Alleviation, almost every track has a different technique, a different timbre, a different way of working with the guitar, because that was the process. And Day in the Sun is a little bit more me playing compositions that are, I think half of them I would just consider songs. So it's just me playing a song, and the other half is almost like classical pieces. I play 3 of the pieces on classical guitar for the first time. but I'm not a, I know most classical players have a certain way they sit and they have a certain technique. I play on one of the tracks, I've cut off my fingernails completely, and I put on gut strings, like real gut strings, and I play one piece with this technique, and I can just barely make it through the piece, but I think that's the right sound for that piece. And then I had to grow nails to do the other pieces. So it's a bit different process, I guess, than what most classical musicians.
Yeah. So I actually very old style, because in the Renaissance we play without the fingernails. So
yeah, exactly. And I've been reading about this, and I was really into Josefina Robledo.
Yes.
I was hearing her sound, and I was like, "That's it. That's what I want to do." So I was trying to get her sound, So I have a really light built guitar from Manuel Berido in Granada, and you can sort of get close to, I think, her sound. But I'll let you decide when you hear the record.
Okay, so, it's a pleasure.
I mean, there's no other place. Italy is so amazing. I hope to come back touring as well soon.